Previously, we've learned how to organize and structure speech. If you want to be successful in public speaking, it's not enough to know how to write an outline, how to organize a speech. It is also important to know how to present your speech. Now, what does it take to deliver a speech? What does it take? Speeches are presented in different styles with the use of voice, body languages, spoken languages, and visual aids. So, if you want to deliver a speech, you have to utilize words, you have to utilize body language, you have to utilize spoken language, you have to utilize visual aids. There are different styles in speech delivery. You can decide to speak with a manuscript, or you can decide to recite what you have learned over time, or you can decide to teach with the use of virtual aids by talking in between. Now, let's look at the first style of speech presentation, manuscript reading. Manuscript reading is when you decide to do a paper presentation of your speech. This method is used mostly by executives in seminars when they want to make a presentation. One disadvantage of this method is that you do not have the grace of adding to what you want to say. You just read the words as it is on the paper. Now, the second style of presenting your speech is recitation. If you want to succeed in this part, in this style, you have to master the lines of the manuscript over time, then present it by heart before your audience. This style is not what would encourage most public speakers to engage in, because most of the times when you forget a line, you forget the whole paper and everything becomes flopped up for you. The third style is when you decide to present a speech with little or no preparation. For instance, let's say you attended a party and you were called upon to give a closing speech without being informed beforehand. So, the speech you present in that scenario is called impromptu speech. So, all you have to do that moment is to utilize your past experience, also brainstorm at the moment. Then we have the last form of speech presentation, which is the most common. It is when you speak extemporaneously. You speak with the use of virtual aids, let's say a projector. You are projecting what you want to say and you are explaining it at the same time. Extemporaneous speaking is speaking by heart with some key points highlighted in PowerPoint presentation or papers. This form of speech is the commonest. It allows the speaker to connect with the audience and relate with them based on the current reality. So, as a public speaker, the style of speech I would recommend for you is the extemporaneous speech presentation, where you highlight your points on a PowerPoint presentation, then you just explain the points to your audience. Another thing to consider in successful speech presentation is your language. Here we have two forms of language. We have the body language and the spoken language. In as much as you are speaking to people through your words, you have to speak to them through your emotions, through your body. The spoken language involves the articulation of your words to capture your audience interest in your message. When your articulation is poor, the message might end up being distorted. And that is why we recommend that you use a perfect medium when passing your message to your audience. But even as you use a perfect medium, ensure that you yourself is not the obstruction to the success of your speech delivery. That is why every word you pronounce must be accurate, and every sentence you make must be correct. So you have to master the art of structuring, using good grammar. That is why we emphasize the fact of writing your speech before presenting them. A good way of presenting your speech is speaking slowly and ensuring that your audience gets everything that you say. Don't rush your words when you go to the podium. And that is why John Wayne said that talk slow, talk slow, don't talk too much. Don't, if you want to emphasize your point, emphasize it, but don't stay on it too much that it will become so boring to your audience. And you have to be mindful of your voice tone when delivering your speech. People really know when you're happy. People know when you're excited. They know when you're hungry. And that is why I said previously in the previous videos, I said whatever you want to achieve in your audience must come from you first. If you want an excited audience, you yourself as a speaker must be excited about the message you are teaching. So your voice tone actually reveals your emotion. It reveals it will reveal it if you are excited about the message, or if you are just there talking, or you are hungry. So people would actually know. So you have to work on your voice tone. These are sub parts of the spoken languages. You also have to work on the volume of your voice. Know when to speak loudly, know when to soften your voice. For instance, let's say you want to make an example about somebody who whispered into somebody's ears. You can decide to use a soft voice. So, as a public speaker, you're not actually delivering a message with words. You are actually acting the message to people by using the right demonstration at the right time, with the tone of your voice, with the volume of your voice, and with your body language. Another thing you should be mindful of when speaking in public is the highness and lowness of your voice. That is pitch. Know when to raise your voice up, know when to bring it down. Do not use a monotonic voice when delivering a speech, just talking one way without taking your voice up and down. Your message will become boring. No matter interesting, no matter how reasonable the message is, it will become boring to them because your audience wants life in your message. So don't be monotonic when speaking. Know when to speak with low tone, know when to speak with high tone. Be dramatic in your voice. Know when to pause when speaking. Yeah, know when to pause. Talk low, talk slow, don't talk much. So know when to pause at intervals. Pausing an interval in public speaking is taking momentary break when delivering your speech. And when pausing, you don't have to stay for long. It's just as if you've written a sentence, you decide to put a full stop, a full stop, a full stop, a full stop in places where necessary. So that is the function of pausing when delivering your speech. delivering a speech, pause where necessary. Pausing provides opportunity for your audience to assimilate and think about your lines of thought. And when you want to pause, don't vocalize pauses. Don't use um, so when you use those vocalization, when you vocalize your pause, your audience might start thinking that, oh, you don't know what to say, or you are not an expert in the message you are delivering. So instead of using a vocalized pause, just take a break shortly. You're not leaving the stage, you're just talking, and you smile and continue talking. It provides opportunity for your audience to think about what is being said. Then lastly, as a public speaker, you should be mindful of how you pronounce your words. This is very important. This is the most important part of spoken language in public speaking. Pronunciation. If you don't pronounce words the way it is supposed to be pronounced, your audience will get the wrong message. Don't pronounce words the way you think it should be pronounced. Pronounce words using the accepted standard of sound and reading for that particular word. Don't do it your own way. Do it in the standard way. Mispronouncing words would distract your audience. So if you want your audience to be concentrated, if you want them to focus on the message, master the art of pronouncing words the right way. Then we'll talk about body language. Body language involves your use of gestures, eye contact, your posture and placement, and face disposition when speaking. Body language involves your physical disposition before your audience. How do you stand before people when talking? What's the disposition of your face? Because people are actually looking at you when you're speaking. Your body language can distract or motivate your audience to listen to you. So that is why you must master the art of displaying the right body language when communicating. So it is not enough to communicate clearly. It is also important for you to express the right body language. When delivering a message, people would easily know if you're tense from how you are standing. So if you want them to see you as a confident speaker, keep a relaxed and upright posture. Don't rest on the podium. Rather, stand erect. You can decide to walk around when explaining a concept. Even when you are using the projector, decide to walk around to explain that particular concept. And when using the projector, don't don't swing the projector controller on the screen, because that is actually going to distract your audience. Don't relax your body on the podium. Move in the direction of your listeners so that they can feel you are with them. Smile when speaking. Smiling when speaking helps build trust and genuine connection between you and the listeners. So utilize that when speaking. Another thing that is of utmost importance in speech presentation is your personal appearance as a speaker. As a speaker, the listeners, your audience see your physical appearance before they hear you. We cannot emphasize this enough. Ensure your dress does not speak louder than the message you are trying to pass to your audience. Previously, I said in the previous movies that if your audience remember the clothes you are wearing more than they remember the message you are passing, you've actually failed as a speaker. And that is why you should focus on being modest, being neat, and being simple in appearance so that your appearance, your physical appearance, would not distract your audience. You see, most times people go for a speaking gig and they decide to wear different colors. That's actually going to distract your audience because some of them might be wondering, oh, why would this speaker decide to wear this on this? So go with the accepted standard of dressing so that you won't distract your audience from your message. Speech presentation is beyond talking on the podium. Your general appearance, how you talk, how you demonstrate your gestures and everything affects your delivery. Lastly, visual aids is very important in speech presentation. I like the fact that the world is now evolving technologically and things are becoming easier for speakers. We can now use projectors, unlike before when people have to use the chalkboard to teach or something. So visual aids are those tools you use for emphasizing your point. They include objects, flip charts, PowerPoint presentation, models, and videos. When delivering a speech, focus on your audience, not your visual aids. I know visual aids is very important in speech delivery, but then if you don't use it well, you might end up distracting the audience. I know you're trying to like, okay, I don't want the audience to focus their attention on me. I want them to focus their attention on my message, so I'm going to use the visual aids to distract them. No, just master the act of using the visual aids when needed and taking their focus away from the visual aids to your message. That's the point. So, focus your audience on your message, not on the visual aids. And secondly, when you're using a model or a projector to explain a point to your audience, do not turn your back on them. Don't turn your back on them, especially when you are doing a PowerPoint presentation. Don't turn your back on them. You have to stand by side and use the controller, but then do not turn your back on them. And when using a PowerPoint presentation, don't read the points word for word because there is actually no need of you speaking when they know they can easily read the PowerPoint. So the purpose of using a PowerPoint or a projector is for you to highlight the points you are explaining. So you should first of all master what you want to say before using the PowerPoint. PowerPoint is for highlighting points, not for writing the stories and everything you want to pass to your audience. Don't wave the PowerPoint controller all over the screen as you talk. It's going to distract the audience. Keep your visuals brief and simple. Whatever it is that you want to use to emphasize your point should be simple. Let's say you want to explain something with a car. You don't have to bring the car over to the stage. Just project the picture of a car. You want to explain something that people don't have access to. Don't bring it all over to the stage. Just download the image, project it, and they will know what you're talking about. So keep your visuals brief and simple. Use visual aids that are relevant to the subject and audience. Whatever topic you're talking about, whatever subject you're talking about, has its own specific visual aids. So do not use a visual aid that is not related to that particular topic because it's going to make your point pointless. So utilize videos, models, PowerPoint presentation, and objects that are related to that particular topic you are teaching on. Thank you for coming this far.